Yay, recording. So this is the July 9th, 2020 meeting of the Web Development Special Interest Groups. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So we've got Owen here today, but no Lucas, since he's got a little bit of a meeting conflict, but we do have some agenda items courtesy of Barbara. So I'll let you take it away.
I tried to come up with something last minute because I always feel like when I attend, I feel unprepared and like I'm not contributing really. So these are last minute things. The first one was when you go into the logs, it would be handy to have them sort by date descending. I always find myself looking at the top and then realizing, oh, that happened at 8 a.m. this morning. I need to go down to the bottom to see the most current things that happened. And I didn't know if there was some jQuery that could redo the order.
And that's for the case of any and all of the action logs.
I think it's all of them.
As I recall, that's usually the case. The bottom of the page, it's sorting chronologically ascending most of the time. So I just try to make it a very small window of time I have to look at if I'm trying to figure out when something happened.
It looks like that table is not paged, so it's not split up among multiple pages. So it would be really simple to add a patch to make it a data table, and then it could have a default sort, and you could add, filtering and stuff like that. That would be a good idea. It's probably possible to make it a data table on the fly, but I've never done that before with jQuery customization. I'd have to dig into it a little bit. That's a good idea.
So should I just submit a ticket, or not a ticket, a thing on Bugzilla?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll do that. My second one was when you're in reports, and I have a lot of tabs set up for, here's my circ reports and my tech services cataloging and whatnot. And I click on the tab, and then maybe I go down to a report that's in the middle of the page and I run that report. If I use the back button, it always takes me back to all of the reports, not the tab I was in, and always to the top of the page rather than, more in where I was. So it's kind of like the back button doesn't act like you often feel like a back button does work, where it takes you back to exactly where you were. And I find myself kind of like scrolling around a lot, and it would feel more efficient to me if it would just take me back to where I had been.
I have a patch for that already.
Oh, yay.
It is currently failed QA, so
well,
I'm working on it. But
at least it's there.
Yeah, it's bug 24958 if you want to take a look.
Great.
Is that right? Yep.
Cool. I love it when things are already in the works. And my third one, I don't have the bug number in front of me right now, but it's 25758. And we use auto renewals. So before 1911, when you looked in a patron's account on the staff side, you would see that they have 3 or 4 renewals remaining. But if there was a hold queue on the item, it would actually say the words on hold. So bug I think it's 19014, changed that because they were trying to solve the problem where with auto renewals, say I'm the patron and I check out a popular item and there's a hold queue. Immediately after I checked that item out, I would get a notice telling me it wouldn't renew because there was a holds queue. But like for us, we have a 3-week checkout, so anything can happen in that 3 weeks. By the time that patron's item is due, maybe everybody else's hold has been solved. So that other bug addressed that behavior of not sending the notice too soon. But it ended up also taking the information that at the time you are looking at it, that the item has the hold on it. And our patrons would use that sometimes to realize, oh, since that does have a hold on it, I better read that one quick because I don't want my time to expire and I haven't, taken my chance to read it. And then staff would also use it to say, it does have holds right now. So when your automatic renewal comes, it might not renew because there is an existing hold queue. So it was informational for us as well. And I know after that bug was created, I know Ed has commented on it as important to McKinney, and some others did, I'm not sure. So there's been a little discussion and work on it, but it's one we'd be really interested in getting that information back. I know some of the comments are there's limited space in that area to say something, and how do you convey it when you don't have a lot of space to basically say, well, it has holds right now, but it may not in the future, so what would you want to actually say there to convey, what you want?
Did you see the last comment on that bug with the screenshot?
I think I did, like way back when. I'm not sure.
It was the end of June. It was from Jonathan. Jonathan posted a patch and a screenshot, which looks like a reasonable solution.
Share my screen and show it. So it looks like he was able to fit on hold. And is that a hyperlink to what the hold is right below the scheduled for automatic renewal? So I'm reading that right?
Yeah. So that looks good to me. And then for us, we would also want that to show on the patrons side when they're logged into the OPAC, so that they could also have that information in case they chose to use it to determine when they read or watched whatever they have checked out.
And then probably a link to there are X number of holds on this item in the OPAC versus where does this link go? To the next patron with the hold, or just to the holds tab of that bib record?
I can't remember exactly
what.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it did before. You know how you it was always there, and then when it's not there, you forget exactly how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of this bug, and I definitely would have been surprised if this behavior showed up in our system. I obviously just haven't noticed it, but I agree.
I think we didn't realize that the other bug that fixed the notice behavior would actually have an effect on, not saying the information in the other places. It just didn't occur to us And then staff came and said, it doesn't say it anymore. I'm like, okay. So that's basically all I had.
So I suppose the next steps for 25758 would be putting a little bit of commentary on there, slash getting a sign off for his patch. And just, yeah, that looks good, or no, it needs a little bit more of this or that.
Yeah, I'll make some comments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we just need to get it out of in discussion and into the need sign off set.
Okay.
Margaret, I don't know if you have the power to get like Kyle or Nick to evaluate the technical merit of that patch, because Jonathan says he's not happy with it but doesn't explain why. So there may be something there that is not going to be obvious from end user testing. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure I can sweet talk one of them into taking a look at it, yes. Cool. And I've just been jotting down some notes to put back onto our agenda for the day. Plus we have this recording, so that's always good. And yeah, Barbara, I think that's your full topics list.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I don't have much else. I could mention a couple of things we've seen with 1911 design-wise, and the first one I think we already talked about is some CSS kind of color changes, and for certain customized opaques, text that was white is now unreadable, so now we've switched it to black, and kind of things like that. But there's also been some, this kind of falls in design, some JavaScript around notices and templates being a little finicky. We've pinned down a bug for it on the self-checkout page. We've gotten a few reports of that where it tries to print a second template that of course doesn't exist. And a few that we've seen where it's not on the self-checkout page, but the regular checkout page trying to print the second notice. And I don't know if we have a bug or not yet for that one, but if you see it, you're not the only ones. It is in fact happening, but it's been pretty hard to reproduce. So we're still looking into that one.
I don't know if y'all have seen that I submitted a patch for the OPAC to upgrade the Bootstrap framework from 2 point something to 4. And that's a very big patch, lots of changes, needs lots of testing. And you reminded me of that because it'll break a lot of customizations, just like the redesign did. Let me see if I can find it. It is
I know that's
201.
objectively good to get to the next level of Bootstrap, but you are going to make me a very sad person when we start upgrading our partners that day.
I put it in the chat, the link.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I mean, is
And
there
it's
a way for the OPAC and or Koha in general to just kind of keep up with Bootstrap without it being a full... Like one thing we're talking about with upgrades is how to make them less of an event, not more of an event.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that, that when Bootstrap upgrades to a major, new number, it's just a lot of changes. And so there's just no way. Like the last time we upgraded jQuery, we added the jQuery migrate plugin, which just sort of sits there and makes sure that nothing breaks. Bootstrap doesn't have that, so we just have to go with it.
Mm-hmm. So what are you hoping to get out of Bootstrap 4.5.0, is it?
It will be a lot more flexible in terms of how the grid works. It has more flexibility in terms of reordering columns. It uses Flexbox instead of floats to do the layout. When I was making the changes to the templates, I found it, once I got the hang of it, I found it to be a really nice change in terms of how to handle things. The responsive behavior, I think, is going to be better in many areas because the Flexbox model allows things to just adjust better at various browser widths. So I think that's going to be really nice.
This might be more tangential to the upgrade. I know there was talk about incorporating features of the Galadriel plugin that Bywater and Lucas have worked on into Koha's core code. Would that dovetail nicely with these changes, since sounds like there's going to be a lot more opportunity for customization, ease of customization?
Well, I haven't heard about that, and so I haven't looked at it. I'm pretty sure Bootstrap comes with some kind of carousel plugin that we normally don't have. We don't normally include it with Koha because it's not a feature that we actually use officially. It would certainly be a good opportunity to use something that was already built for Bootstrap and add that.
Because there's cover flow for book covers, and then there's Galadriel OPAC customization, where it's just, instead of writing out the CSS yourself, a lot of it.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting Galadriel and cover flow mixed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. For the most part, it just takes what hex colors you want, what you want to show, and does the CSS and jQuery work for you.
I always come back to the idea of doing like on-the-fly compiling of SCSS to CSS when we talk about that. And does the Galadriel plugin just insert CSS into the page? So
it inserts it into the OPAC user CSS system preference, or the OPAC user JS system preference, and then you can just scroll down and see what's been added. And so instead of having to write the jQuery yourself, Galadriel will do it for you and show extra search options, or if you want to hide the publisher, show it, or the audience, or hide it, show it, sort of thing. And what the logo's URL is.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting to build a system where when you saved that info, it would actually recompile the CSS from the source. Because that's what the SCSS files do. It's an expanded thing that can accept, like the SCSS can accept variables. So the Galadriel plugin could basically redefine variables that go into compiling the CSS. It would be a nice way to dovetail that, but I don't know anything about what you'd have to do on the server side to make that happen. So that's what I always think about when I think about that feature. It would the thing that I worry about with the Galadriel plugin is the fact that the CSS is added to the system preference, which then could be manually changed. I don't know if you run into a lot of libraries who like end up messing themselves up because of that.
Thankfully, no. For the most part, there's this is compiled by the plugin, do not edit here, gets for the most part ignored by most of our partners who are comfortable with CSS, and jQuery will go in there, do it, and then fix anything they break before they tell us.
That's nice.
I'm pretty sure you're included in that number. And then the partners that are less comfortable with it just ask us to do it in the first place. So, and thankfully, we don't seem to shoot ourselves in the foot too much with doing that. But it really depends on the library and what their comfort and time level is to do any OPAC customization. Some will say, oh yeah, I guess it hasn't been working since we upgraded a month ago, but no one's told me the OPAC was now purple for no explicable reason and unreadable. Like, oh, okay, you clearly don't check this very often. And then some libraries are right on top of it and going in there and starting to change things, whatever they can. They just want to know so they can do it themselves. And it's nice if those 2 points could be a little bit closer in the ease of use of Koha, that people with a lot less time and know-how can still go in and take care of it and feel like they've got control over the look and feel of their public digital interface.
It really makes a difference to be able to like set up my own test system with the version that's coming up and apply my customizations and know that they're going to work. And I know that that's not possible for most libraries. They just don't have the time or wherewithal to do that. But it's almost like you need a staging for every customized OPAC.
Well,
I'm sure you don't want to go there.
Not going to go there as a company anytime soon, probably, but maybe when Koha does get Dockerized, there will be more opportunity for that with sandboxes and take this image, throw it up here, do this to it. I hear a lot of magical things will happen as soon as we get Docker, but you know, we'll see what the future does look like. I'm hoping it's pretty good.
One of the other fun things that I'm working on right now is drag and drop upload for cover images, which can hopefully be a model for drag and drop uploads in other places. But I don't have a patch ready for testing yet. It's almost there, but it made so many changes that I'm worried about having missed something. So I keep going over it again and again, but it's pretty fun. I like it.
Well, it looks like you've got a tester right in the wings ready to take care of that.
Yeah, that sounds really wonderful because we have such an old collection that we do a lot of cover upload to Open Library and to Koha because it's pre-ISBN, so it'll never match.
I do have a bug number if you want to CC yourself on it.
Oh, yes, please.
25025. Oh, and I did have a little like demo.
Cool.
I pasted a link in the chat to see, so you can see a real quick idea of what what's going to look like.
Oh, it looks nice.
I hope you'll be able to test it when I submit a patch.
Hey, Owen, is there any way that you can add any tools in there? Like if you tested it and you needed to still make any edits?
Like
What do
if
you
you
mean?
need to rotate the image around or flip it 180, Todd?
All the above?
Oh.
Because
You know,
we've
any
had
kind
some
of,
that just persistently want to load and the cover image is upside down, and we
Yeah.
don't know, but we get those tickets occasionally.
there's got to be some coding out there for a little toolbar that you could click on some little up arrow and the toolbar would come up and then you could make an adjustment to the image.
Yeah, probably so. I'll submit what I've got, and
Oh, that's cool.
then we'll talk.
Yeah. No, that's pretty awesome though, what you got.
I put a link in the chat to some of the maritime pulp fiction story magazine cover images that we've uploaded that are not represented really in the open library because they're analytics, they're pretty obscure, but it's a collection that we really enjoy. And
Those are so awesome. That's great. I'm so glad you shared that link.
oh, cool. Yeah, we'd like to, we're trying to do more with getting the analytics stories cataloged for these pulp fiction authors, but then also to get the covers online and to get analytical records for the covers so that people interested in these artists can discover more of their work, at least digitally.
These covers are awesome. I want to see all of, I want to check out all the books now.
Aren't those really fun?
They're just so evocative of all the old classics. They're really,
Yeah.
you know, golden age of comics mixed with all the stuff around 1940s and 50s and that ridiculous artwork, pinup artwork. Love it.
Exactly, and for a lot of people, these sort of adventure stories were how they got interested in maritime topics and the sea and ships. So, yeah, and pretty underrepresented in collections because the materials were so ephemeral.
So anyone watching this in the future, you have to go follow the links that Jason's going to post to check these out. I'm not going to show you. Have to go to the Maritime Museum catalog.
Just trying to drive traffic.
I'm waiting when you have the collection of tattoos.
Oh,
Old sailor tattoos from way back. Any pictures or anything? That'd be awesome.
we just digitized some drawings in the collection. I'll see if I can find a link.
And if you've got any of the Sailor Jerry flash workbooks, that would be pretty cool.
What we digitized was some flash art.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sorry, now I'm just Googling Sailor Jerry. So.
I like tattoos and know a little bit too much about them, so I will occasionally bring that up.
Tattoos are a wonderful art form that's very personal for a lot of people, at where maritime, it's so intersectional with maritime history and sailors and cultural practices and colonialism and indigenous peoples. It just all comes together.
And for me, I just think it's kind of revolutionary and amazing when I look back at on this day and age. You would follow how tattoos originated around the world in different places, fell out of vogue as societies changed, but as soon as they start going out, as soon as they start checking out the foreign, the age of exploration, suddenly tattoos, which might have been low class and penalized, are picked up by these people traveling around the world as evidence that they went that far, especially over the seas, and then bringing it back. And it just kept happening over and over and over again to these cultures with a really rich tattooing tradition and bringing that artwork back. So at the same time, we've got triangle trade and white oppression going on. The white people are getting all these tattoos of the indigenous culture and bringing back the art and actually inscribing it in your skin, which is whole levels of anthropology. And I did a thesis on it, but
Oh my
it's
goodness.
just remarkable.
We would love to have a copy of your thesis for our collection.
I will probably go over it, as it was written a while ago and updated, but I would gladly send it over.
Fantastic. Yes, yes. All of this and the opportunities with digitizing the flash, the artwork, and then how it can intersect with photographs of people and their tattoos, that which is a photographic art form, but again is also how people are presenting the art on their bodies with portraiture and then oral histories about what this means to them. The connections are fantastic.
So are you getting all that, Owen? Koha needs to be able to present all of this and its nuance visually to patrons on the OPAC. All right, does anyone want to reel this back to talking about maybe CSS jQuery and some of the more typical topics? All right, it looks like we might have exhausted our web development talking points for this morning. See stories on the skin. Thank you, Heather. I am going to go check that out.
Cool. Well, I think this discussion was interesting for how the web design topics that we address are so important for bringing so many aspects of the collections. It's the doorstep.
I love that. We need that on a t-shirt for the special interest group.
Yeah.
I think the older stuff is going to be a lot better than the stuff I saw when I was in the Navy. You start to lack imagination when you start getting into the 70s and 80s and onwards. So. Oh, and you may have opened a whole can of worms with that picture editing. I can see so many things coming from that. That's really cool. Or not the editing, but the drop in, the drag and drop.
Right now it's still like you still have to navigate to the picture upload page in the tools section, but my goal is to make it so that all you have to do is drag the image onto the tab on the detail page and it just goes from there.
See, this is some of the stuff that we need in development, because you're doing the work, but if there's more that we can add to it and you could get paid for it and it's some kind of low-hanging fruit that's not going to be expensive for koha-US, this is the kind of stuff we need on. What do you think,
Well, maybe that image editing aspect of it could be that.
Yeah, bring that in. That would be awesome.
All right. Shall we call it a wrap there?
Peace.
Heads nodding. All right.
Have a
Thank
good
you
one,
all.
everybody.
We'll
Nice to
see you
see y'all.
next month.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.